Good evening. The time is now 7 o'clock, and I would like to call the Beloit City Council meeting to order at this time. May we have a roll call?
All councilors are present.
Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. May we all stand? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before we move to item 3, I want the public and the 10,000 people that are in the forum watching this wonderful meeting to notice that, no, we did not call each other tonight and say, let's all dress alike today. But what we want to do is I want to publicly thank Vice President Duncan this evening when we arrived for our 6:30 meeting. She had sweatshirts for all of us for the holidays. So we wanted to all wear them tonight and show our appreciation for the gift that she purchased for us. So this is why we're all looking like twins, and we're all, dressed alike this evening. So we just wanted to show our appreciation for her. So for that, we move to item 3, special orders of the day and announcements. First one with City Manager Luther.
Thank you. If our Fire Chief Liggett would come forward, we would like to congratulate our newly promoted captain, Mike Rosario.
Mike? If he can stay. Just want to introduce Captain Mike Rosario. All right. Mike is just recently promoted to captain. He actually began his duties this Friday. And I wanted to congratulate him and introduce him to you, the counselors. He'll be the second in command of B Shift. And he'll be starting this Friday. So congratulations, Mike.
Item 3A, please.
Presentation of Heroism Awards to Suaves Moritzes, Brian Brewster, and Christine Roulette.
Chief Liggett.
If I could please invite Deputy Chief Joe Murray, Savas Morges. I knew I slaughtered that. There's a J in it. And Christine Roulette and Brian Brewster to the podium, please.
That's all right, bring them on down. You will scream.
That's all right.
Thanks.
Thank you for the opportunity to recognize these heroes. I'm going to ask Deputy Chief Joe Murray to provide the staff report.
Good evening. On October 12th, 2018, the Beloit Fire Department responded to a residential fire at 1015 10th Street. Unbeknownst to responding units, there were a number of people trapped in the home. Prior to our arrival, 3 brave citizens saw the fire and decided to put their own safety at risk to save their fellow Beloiters. Savas Morjits saw the fire on the front porch and flagged down Christine Roulette, asking her to call 911. Mr. Morjits then went to the rear of the home, finding Shantae Cole and 2 of her children asleep in the back bedroom of the home, unaware of the fire. Mr. Morjits assisted with removing the 2 children and Miss Cole. He handed the children off to Miss Roulette, who took them to her vehicle. Brian Brewster came upon the incident while driving down the alley next to the house. Brian was told that John Martin, Shantae's father, was in the front bedroom of the home and was unable to walk. Mr. Brewster entered the home and made his way to the front of the house, which was engulfed in flames, to help remove John Martin, who was in the front bedroom. Mr. Brewster carried John out of the home. According to police reports, Lordy Cole and his son, Lordy Jr., were on the roof of the home and were assisted down by Brian, Savas, and Christine. Chief?
For heroism for Savas. For an act of bravery and heroism demonstrated on October 12, 2018, while putting his own life safety at risk to save the life of another. Savas was driving to work and noticed the porch at the neighboring home was on fire and flagged someone down to call 911 for help. He ran to the back door of the home to alert Mom, who was asleep in the bedroom with her 2 children. Continued to perform acts of heroism to aid them rescue 2 additional adults and an infant from the burning home to a vehicle to be warm and safe. His selfless action is a demonstration of bravery and heroism that reflects the honor of his dedication to humanity and is an enviable example to the highest traditions of a citizen and a patriot. Thank you for this incredible act of humanity given under my hand the 17th day of December 2018. Congratulations and thank you. Mr. Brewster, for your act of extreme bravery and heroism demonstrated on the same date, while putting your own life and safety at risk to save the life of another, you selflessly entered the burning home of a neighbor to rescue the resident who was sleeping in the bedroom, which was engulfed in fire. The occupant was unable to walk on his own, and Mr. Brewster carried him out of the home to safety. Mr. Brewster continued to perform acts of heroism to aid the rescue, 2 adults and an infant, off the second-story roof of the burning home. Mr. Brewster, your selfless act is a demonstration of bravery and heroism and reflects with honor your dedication to humanity, and it's an enviable example to the highest traditions of a citizen and patriot. Thank you for your incredible humanity. And to Christine, for your act of heroism demonstrated on the same date while assisting to save lives of others. You were driving to work when you flagged down a person yelling for help, called 911, or asked someone to call 911 and contact the 911 center, alert them of the fire and location. You continue to perform acts of heroism to aid the rescue of the occupants of the burning home. And aided them to your vehicle to keep them warm and safe. Your selfless action is a demonstration of heroism and reflects with honor Ms. Roulette's dedication to humanity as an enviable example of the highest traditions of citizen and patriot. Thank you again for your incredible act of humanity given under my hand the 17th day of December 2018. This incredible act allows us to get through this holiday season with 6 lives. That's an incredible feat. And in all the work that we do in this community, this definitely reflects on the type of people that live here and work here. And this is a demonstration of what we can do together as neighbors. If we just care, if we give unconditionally, and we work hard together, this town is going to be so wonderful. It is wonderful. But when this kind of effort happens, it shows why. So thank you.
Thank you. Item 4, public hearings. There are none this evening. Item 5, we reached the point on the agenda where we've reached public comments. At this time, individuals who have filled out forms can come forward, state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. I will not cut you off at 3 minutes, but give you a friendly reminder. However, any personal attacks on staff, city councilors, or anything going down that road, I would ask you to sit down immediately. We did not have anyone who filled out a form this evening, but if there's anybody wishing to speak under public comments, come forward, state your name and address for the record, and when you start, we will start the clock.
Sorry, it's Beloit.
That's all right. It's okay. You didn't.
Okay.
We don't need it. So.
Bill Dorr, 836 Church Street. Friday we got back from Phoenix, and ironically, when you guys were having your meeting on the casino, I was at an India casino up in Phoenix, and lady, 95 years old, across the street from my uncle said, let's go up there. And so I take her up there and we have our lunch, and she said 3 hours later we'll meet. So it's kind of ironic. We go there, I spend my $60 that's kind of wadded up in the corner of my wallet, and a good gambler will tell you that he was 75 ahead before he lost the 60. And then I had another 20, which was kind of my wife's and my vacation money. And I thought, well, she's an accountant. If you know her, she, every penny, Starbucks, whatever. So I had also explained what happened to the $20 I got home. I said, well, I lost $80. I said, no, honey. I said, all I can feel good about is that maybe I sent an Indian to college. The next day we're at a butte at ASU. You climb this butte, about 2/3 of the way up, there's a resting area, and she says, you go up to the top, I'll wait right here. And so I go up to the top, I'm looking around, and let me tell you, you trip over casinos in Arizona. There's got to be a dozen or better. And when I come back down, she's talking with this Indian girl, and she goes, Bill, get over here, I want you to meet somebody. I go, hi, she says, this is my husband, Bill. And she lives in the reservation behind us, right off of Scottsdale. And I said, oh, great, glad to meet you. And she says, she's going to a community college. I went over, reached her hand, and I said, God bless you. It made me feel better about my $80. Anyways, my phone rang off the wall after you guys' meeting. I'm in Arizona. I'd already had a meeting set for tomorrow night about a YouTube video called Pushing Luck, and a bunch of people that I had that we were just going to discuss this YouTube, kind of a documentary on gambling. So then all of a sudden I get these phone calls from people in the city and asking me to do something. I said, well, look, before I watch my video, we can have an open discussion. So what I just handed out is basically my presentation that I'll make for 20 minutes and whatever, 15 minutes, and then just open it up. People don't play poker with me anymore because I put my cards out on the table. It's right there. You can see mine. So anyways, this is some of the things that are going on. It was in the paper tonight. There's supposed to be a Madison newspaper as well. When I had heard that, but people were contacted by a Madison group. And then that's when I was called. They said, we don't want to, people that had spoke at your meeting. I said, it's all right, just see if they want to come to that meeting. So that was the roots of the whole thing. I didn't want you to feel blindsided. Truthfully, I came home on Friday from 2 weeks of a glorious time in Arizona, yeah. Oh, yeah, it was great. And like I say, there's a lot of casinos. There's an Indian museum out there that I go to. I mean, none of that, I have no problem. I just want an open discussion, and so just to let you know the grassroots of what happened, so you're not blindsided. So thank you.
So just want to point out that we can't have a majority of the council in attendance at that meeting.
Yeah. No, I just don't want you to feel like, and most
Public.
people don't. Yeah.
It is not a posted official meeting.
Right. It was like I said, I'd already had this YouTube video we were going to watch, and I'd already rented the room, and it was just how it came down. I just want you to feel like there's some kind of a plot. I mean, it was just how it was.
Okay.
Well, most of you know me, so,
Right.
And I do play with my cards. My cards are on the deck.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Anyone else wishing to speak under public comments this evening? Third and final call, anyone wishing to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing none, I'd close that portion of the agenda. Move to item 6, consent agenda, please.
All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda.
Is there any council like anything removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Forbeck, second by Duncan. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, consent agenda passes. Item 7 is licenses. 7A, please.
Consideration of Resolution 2018-209 for the approval and denial of 2017 to 2019 applicants for an alcohol beverage operator bartender's license for the period November 26th through December 11th, 2018. You have before you tonight 5 recommendations for approval, 1 recommendation for denial, and the time to appeal has passed.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Forbeck. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. 7B, please.
Consideration of Resolution 2018-210, granting an extension for the issuance of Class B beer and Class B intoxicating liquor license for G5 Brewing Company, LLC, at 1895 Gateway Boulevard, Lee Gunderson, agent. Long story short, this construction has come under some time periods where they had a lot of rain over the summer, and so we suggested he get a 6 months. He said, I only need a 3 months. So before you tonight is a 3-month extension for G5, and he felt that that was adequate time to get running.
Okay, motion by...
Second.
Okay, Jacobson, second by Duncan. All those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Item 8, ordinances. 8A, please.
Consideration of ordinance number 3633, annexing the property located at 1014 Frable Drive in the city of Beloit.
Ms. Christensen.
The property on Frable Drive has a failing septic system, so they're requesting annexation to the city of Beloit in order to receive sewer service from the city. This is on your agenda for approval tonight.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Forbank. Is there a second? Second by Blakely. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Item 9, appointments, please.
The individuals about to be named have been nominated for a seat on a city board, committee, or commission. Each nomination is subject to confirmation by the city council. Approval of appointment will be accomplished by one motion unless a council member requests to take up a nomination separately, in which event the nomination will be removed from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda. The appointments this evening to the Appointment Review Committee is incumbent Dan Gifford, newcomer Paul Martin, replacing Henry Clement. To the Board of Review, Vincent Borgoni. To the Community Development Authority, Francesca Ellison. And to the Municipal Golf Committee, Isam Elamine.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Anderson, is it second by Preschel? Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Item 10, council activities. Councilor Jacobson. Councilor Anderson. Councilor Blakely.
No report, but I'm stalling because there was something on my mind.
Councilor Forback.
I did
We'll
have
come back.
one
Go ahead.
quickie before the meeting, only one. I just wanted to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and to all very soon a good night.
Councilor Forback.
No report.
Councilor Preschel.
I'm just going to mention what arrived in my mail today with my Beloit utility bill. Everybody that's ready to throw out the junk mail that came with it, stop and look again, because it's got next year's schedule of pickups and a nice map. Everything that's available on the website or in the city manager's office or the city clerk office for pickup is right here, came with your bill, to everybody that uses those utilities and the trash and recycling. This is an awesome resource, and I would hope and encourage our landlords to get out and get copies of their own to distribute to their tenants. And the other part that I really liked, because we used to do this years ago, and I'm so happy to see this again, and I completely missed this because there's so much in there. But anyway, on the back, in one of those pages, is an explanation of your property tax bill. And you will find out that we are just one of 5 taxing bodies. So it's not all our fault here at City Hall. And it's not something we have entirely, entire control over here at the City Council. So, and just look it over carefully, contact any of us or anybody at City Hall, City Manager's Office, and Finance and stuff to find out explanations. They'll explain it for you. But this is a really nice, and I'm really, really happy to see this. Thank you, Sarah, Lori, whoever got involved and put this together. This was something I've missed for years since we started doing this at the county level. So thanks a lot for bringing it back. And that's all I have for tonight.
Vice
Merry
President Duncan.
All right, I had an opportunity to attend the Appointment Review Committee along with Councilor Levy. And I shared with the committee that I spoke with Dr. Ramos, the principal at Beloit Memorial High School, and John Kaminsky to get the word out. They were looking for youth to serve on our municipal committee and also on our, let me get the name right, on our Park, Recreation, and Conservation Advisory Commission. So if you are interested or know someone that's interested in it, please have them go to our City of Beloit website. We are always looking for great talent. In addition, I want to mention that Henry Clement and Louise Rodenbach, I hope I pronounced that right, have been on the Appointment Review Committee for a number of years. And if they're watching, I want to thank them both for their service and dedication and for all their hard work that they've given towards the city of Beloit. Hopefully, they will miss us and come back in the future to be on another committee. Also, I attended the Wright County Breakfast along with our city manager, and I want to thank Lori, our city manager, for always doing a good job and taking the lead to help us coordinate efforts. Lori, you are always prepared and you represent us well. Also, I want to say a special thank you to Andrew Yankee. Yeah, Andrew, now you can look up. I want to make sure that you know that we appreciate all your hard work and your presentations that you give to our Greater Beloit Economic Development Committee. What you bring to that committee is immeasurable. So I want to thank you. You don't get enough shout outs, and I just got to say thank you so much. Your hard work is very appreciated. Also, I had a chance to go to Holidazzle, and I saw from Facebook a lot of our other city councilors did as well. So special thanks to our city staff, the Downtown Beloit Association, and all the store owners downtown for giving us a jump start to our holiday. I'm always happy to be able to spend time at stores like the Villager. We had so much fun, and we ate way too much. We really have lots to celebrate. So with that said, I want to wish everyone in our community a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's join together to spread joy, love, and happiness throughout our entire community. Thank you.
And the only comments I would add is just, as everyone said, wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Take time to spend with family. Try to get a little rest and relaxation. Please watch the newspapers and listen to the radio about trash pickup. Usually around the holidays, it's kind of a little confusing, but especially with Christmas when gifts come in and you have piles of trash. Make sure you're reading the newspaper and understanding, and also watching just in case we have snow. For snow emergency days as well. We don't want any only on the 24th, and then it could leave on the 26th. That's my rule. So, but we want everyone to have just a little dusting. So, we want everyone to have a safe and joyful holiday season. And remember, it's not about the gifts, but it's about being with family and being appreciative to what you have now. So with that concludes council activities and upcoming events. We'll move to item 11, City Manager's presentation, 11A.
An economic development update.
Mr. Yankee, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, my compliments for your display of esprit de corps tonight. That's just great. It's that time of year where I get to come and present to council and the community updates on economic development. We've had a really marvelous year, tremendous amount of economic development. The economy is robust, not only nationally, regionally, and of course locally as well. So there's a lot of news and information to share with you tonight. I think we'll get you out of here by 10, 11 o'clock. But,
that's fine.
You know. As I have in the past, I've kind of organized this presentation. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the more recently announced projects. We're going to talk about some of the projects that's happening downtown and in our city center. We're going to talk about some industrial development projects, commercial development projects. We're going to talk also about residential, some of our major infrastructure projects we're tracking, workforce development, because that's probably the biggest topic that we're tracking right now. And we'll close out with some economic indicators as well. So let's jump in here. Talk first of all about some recently announced projects that we had the pleasure to announce in the last few weeks, quite frankly. Project that we just announced last week at the annual meeting of the investors of the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation. The folks from ABC Supply were on hand to tell us about their planned expansion project. They're planning to build a brand new building. It's going to be a 132,000 square foot office building, going to be 4 stories. They're going to be investing over $30 million into that building. And there's going to be, in the next several years, 270 associates working out of that facility, with the potential to grow up to 600 associates. And those jobs will be about net between 100 and 150 new jobs to the community. The week prior to that, we announced another project, Seal Right Door. This is a company relocating from Rockford, Illinois. They're a manufacturer of high-quality residential doors. And they're going to be occupying the second spec building out in the Willowbrook Industrial Park. They're going to be occupying all 105,000 square feet of that particular building. They themselves are investing $16 million into the relocation. That project is going to create 84 new jobs. And it's also being supported by a tax credit allocation from WEDC. And what's kind of encouraging about this is, of course, HCP, who developed this property, developed their first spec building of 105,000 square feet, was occupied prior to completion with Toledo Molding and Die. this building being occupied before it's completed is encouraging them to go ahead and build a third spec building in, hopefully they're going to start construction in spring. That will be built in Gateway Business Park. We continue to deal with this challenge of there being a lack of existing quality industrial space, but luckily our local development community is stepping to the plate to try to fill that demand. Project in South Beloit that was announced in the last couple of weeks, PMP Americas. This is a company that was spun out of the Beloit Corporation. They had been working out of McChesney Park for a while, and they relocated to South Beloit, occupying an existing building that was vacant for a while, 12,000 square foot building, and they brought along 17 employees with them. As mentioned briefly tonight, the Beloit Casino project achieved a major milestone in the last week or month or so. Back in November, the Ho-Chunk Nation announced that the Bureau of Indian Affairs had published in the Federal Registry the fact that the EIS was being published. That set up the public hearing, which we had last week. We had about 60, 70 people in the room. 32 people spoke. Most of those speakers were in favor of the project. And again, this is a very significant milestone in moving this project forward. There's a number of steps that still have to be accomplished here before this becomes a reality. But we think things are starting to accelerate a little bit here. It's not impossible that this could be approved spring, summer of next year. The governor has up to a year to review it himself, but it's not impossible that we could see construction in 2019 or 2020. Transitioning into city center activity, project we've been talking about for a year, but was opened up here a few weeks ago, the Hotel Goodwin and the Velvet Buffalo Cafe, one of 3 hospitality projects that were to open or about to be opened in the city of Beloit. This is a 35,000 square foot renovation of the entire building, about a $5.2 million project, and we actually had our annual meeting for the GBDC on the rooftop, first rooftop venue in the city of Beloit. Pretty cool amenity. Also in City Center, Beloit Memorial High School, of course, approved their master plan last year. Phase 1 of that master plan involved the approval and construction of their Welcome Center. This is a 26,000 square foot addition that's under construction and now on schedule to be completed in the summer of 2019, and it's about a $5.5 million project. Continue to see a lot of activity in Ironworks. Iron Tech expansion just completed about an 8,000 square foot expansion. They took an existing manufacturing bay and they brought in shipping containers to create new co-op and office space. They have a waiting list and hopefully they're going to be filling up these new shipping container units pretty quickly. Ebates did an expansion. They went from 25,000 square feet to 35,000 square feet. AccuLinks expanded from 12,000 to 22,000 square feet. First National Bank did a major expansion from their headquarters on the other side of the river to Ironworks. They added 22,000 square feet. And then the other project we're going to talk about in just a minute, Carry Americas also did a major expansion at Ironworks. And several of these companies are already contemplating a possible second or third expansion, again, upcoming in the new year. Another major project we've been tracking for a while is the Powerhouse. Beloit College, of course, has under renovation the former Blackhawk generating facility. Their plan is to convert this into a new student center, 150,000 square foot renovation. We've been watching this project throughout the summer. They've been working on the demolition throughout the summer and the fall, and they're starting to put all the pieces together. And it's on track, on schedule, on budget. That's going to be open hopefully fall of 2019. Another project downtown, 200 West Grand. This is the former Carey manufacturing facility. This is an HCP project. Again, they spent the majority of last summer gutting this particular property, preparing it for their planned renovation of this facility into 72 market rate apartments. Going to be really cool, upscale, kind of targeting those new workers that are going to be working at the ironworks. There's going to be efficiency apartments, 1-unit apartments, 2-unit apartments. Going to take advantage of all the fabric and material that exists on site, the concrete, the steel, the exposed bricks. It's a pretty significant project, about $12 million. They ran into some construction delays, but again, they hope to get their first units online sometime by the end of the year, next year, 2019. Two major commercial projects to celebrate downtown: Trucked Street Tacos and Blue Collar Coffee. Of course, these are at the corner of Grand and Pleasant Street. Brand new commercial venues downtown. Combined, they're creating 50 new jobs for the community. Transition here to some industrial projects. Briefly mention this. Cary is part of the launch of a major computer software system, their system applications product software launch. This is the last in a series of global launches that they're doing across their platform. They need to do this for their North American operations, so they needed to find some temporary space. This is a 3-year project for them. They decided to locate at Ironworks, and they're going to be hiring about 120 people and keeping those on site for the next 3 years. And there's a possibility that this could grow and continue to be a permanent operation there as well. North Star Medical Radioisotopes. They did their first building a number of years ago. They got some significant approvals from the USDA this last year to allow them to produce their radiogenics products. So they've initiated an expansion project. That project is under construction. It's a 20,000 square foot addition, and they're about 50% through that $9 million project. And the $9 million only represents the capital investment that they're making into the building itself, doesn't represent the other investment that they're making into equipment and machinery. A project in South Beloit, because the GBDC also tracks projects throughout the region, Town of Beloit and City of Beloit, as well as City of South Beloit. PBC Linear, a project located just off the interstate. They're doing a $10 million expansion. They've built a 60,000 square foot building. They've erected the building. They're just completing the interior effort. New manufacturing space, office space, support space. It's about a $6.2 million into the building alone, 3.75 into machinery. It's about a two-year project. They're about 70% done overall. Our biggest scale economic development project is Riverside Energy, of course. This is Alliant Energy's brand new electrical generating facility out in the town of Beloit. It's 730 megawatt project, so very, very large scale generating facility, $700 million investment. It's about reached the 60% milestone, and last time we checked in with them, they had over 700 people working on site, and it's on schedule to be fully operational by 2020. Fairbanks Morse, one of our legacy companies. Of course, we celebrated a few months ago that the USS Beloit is going to be named in support of Fairbanks and the fact that they've built so many diesel engines for the U.S. Navy over the years. But they also made a significant capital investment this year. They added 18,000 square feet to build a brand new paint shop. They added a new security center, and they invested just under $3 million on those two projects as well. Some of just a sampling of some of the commercial activity was mentioned earlier tonight. G5 Brewing, they ran into some setbacks in their construction schedule, as well as some delays in getting their brewing equipment, but they are fully into construction. It's about a $2.8 million project, going to be our first microbrewery in over 10 years in the community, and they hope to be open by March, and I believe they're actually going to meet that goal as well. Acadian Hospitality, again, one of 3 hospitality projects that we have under construction or have been completed. This is going to be a brand new Holiday Inn Express out at the old former Wicks Lumber site, 6-story building, 124 rooms. Under construction, they hope to be open in April. And the third hospitality project is Home 2 Suites by Hilton, 102 rooms at the corner of Cranston and Milwaukee Road, about $11.2 million investment. Opened just a few weeks ago, so that's done as well. And just very briefly, a few other notable projects I just wanted to mention. Brighton Quick Lubes is well into construction for their new building downtown. Cornerstone Credit Union renovated a building in the city of South Beloit that was vacant for a number of years. The Rock Bar and Grill did a major upgrade in their outdoor venues. Aldi Grocery Store is going to be doing an addition in 2019, and the Prairie Avenue McDonald's is going to be doing a complete renovation in the coming year as well. So, transition to residential development. We talked about this, of course, last year. There's a lot of demand. There's more demand for residential than there is actually supply right now, and that's across the board, whether we're talking single-family, multifamily, condo. There simply isn't enough to meet the demand. So just a few projects to highlight. In single-family out in the Gateway Business Park, in the Eagles Ridge subdivision. New Leaf Homes continues to develop homes out there. Their third subdivision approval was done this past year. They're going to be extending Eagles Ridge Drive. They actually got in the base, they got into sewer extensions, they got the curb and the gutter down, but unfortunately they ran out of time to get the blacktopping done. But nonetheless, that's going to open up 22 lots for new housing development. Those units should be going up early in the spring. A condo project on the north central side, Elm Grove Estates. They're going to be developing 4 buildings, 18 units overall. Under construction, they actually had their ribbon cutting back in September for their first building. Out in Gateway, Hawks Ridge Apartments, this building has been under construction for some time. One new building, 58 units when it's completed. And they're hoping, if market demand continues to be strong, that when they get this completed, they might move on and finish the 7th and last building that's been approved for this site. We always say infrastructure supports economic development. Again, we've been tracking the expansion of the interstate, but a year ago today, we weren't quite as certain that this project was going to happen, but we're more than certain it's going to happen. It was actually accelerated this past year. We've seen a lot of activity take place this past summer, and starting in the fall of 2019, you're going to see the bulk of the major part of the work that's going to involve the reconstruction, reconfiguration of that interchange is going to take place between 2019 and 2021. Town Hall Road at the edge of Gateway Boulevard, a major reconstruction involving curb, gutter, surface area extension of utilities, and the city repaved from the railroad tracks to Collie Road, so a major infrastructure project there as well. Another project, infrastructure project that we're going to be wrapping up by the end of the year is the water extension project in the Gateway Business Park. This is going to accomplish 2 things for us. It's going to make our current water utility more robust in that area, and it's also going to open up a portion of Gateway, about 40 acres, for potential future development for single-family housing. We still have to wait for the TIF to retire before we can actually rezone this, but with this infrastructure upgrade, the site will be ready to go for future development. Just a few strategic initiatives that either we've been involved with the department or with the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation. There's a 15-acre site located in the Gateway Business Park that the city of Beloit has owned for a number of years. We've been passively marketing this site, but we took a more active role in marketing in this past summer. We released a request for proposals. We sent that out to about 30 different developers. Prior to that, we developed a master plan kind of illustrating how it potentially could be developed as multifamily. This site is zoned multifamily. We sent out that RFP. We only did get one response back, but we thought it was a quality response. A local company basically submitted their proposal. We met with them today to kind of go over some of their plans and their vision for this site. They're looking to basically do duplex townhouses up to like 120 units, and we're very encouraged by what they have for a vision for the development of this site, and we're going to continue to have a dialogue with them with the hope that possibly we could see some of this starting to be built out in early spring of 2019. Vision Beloit, again, I serve as Executive Director for the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation. We've had our offices with Vision Beloit at 500 Public Avenue. We had to make an accommodation to help that project, the Hotel Goodwin, to move forward. I won't get into the details, but to make a long story short, we're in the hunt for finding a new home. We hope to find a new home downtown to accommodate the offices for the GBDC, Downtown Beloit Association, and Visit Beloit, and possibly the Chamber as well. We're looking at a variety of options, whether it's finding an existing location, building a new building, or finding something existing and possibly doing an addition as well. Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation, we spent some time and effort in upgrading our website, and we launched that back in September. We continue to do our marketing campaign to market our development opportunities, particularly industrial development opportunities in the Gateway Business Park, and we're targeting a specific publication, which is Chicago Industrial Properties, to target that particular market in Chicago. And just anecdotally, I can tell you that Most of the traffic that I've received indicating interest in our community, that traffic has come from Northern Illinois. So I don't know if our targeted marketing campaign is working, but the telephone is ringing. Transitioning to workforce development, we've spent quite a bit more time and energy and resources this past year working on workforce development. I mentioned this last year. This is still our biggest challenge. When we talk to our local companies, their number one concern is the ability to attract and retain workers. We continue to support with our partners throughout the region the Jobs in Rock County website, which we launched about 18 months ago. I won't go through the metrics that are there on the side of the screen. We also continue to support the Inspire Rock County, which is a web-based platform to connect workplace work opportunities and students. And again, I won't read through the metrics there, but we continue to have robust interest and activity with both of those sites, quite frankly. Just to highlight a few of the programs and activities that we've participated in the last year. After taking a break for a few years, we reintroduced the Reality Store program, which is an interactive financial literacy program where we bring in business people to interact with students at Beloit Memorial High School to kind of work through the lesson of life, how to balance a checkbook and how to make expenditures and live within your means. Another project that we launched last year was the Crafts People with Character. This is a high school for-credit program that creates pathways for manufacturing careers in our community. And there's classroom work, there's workplace shadowing, mentoring involved, and also an opportunity for students to self-reflect and think about what opportunities would exist in manufacturing for them. We continue with our practice interview program, which is a program which is geared towards all high school seniors at Beloit Memorial. This is a graded project for those students, and just last week and this week we're actually having our volunteers come in and conduct those practice interviews. Another project that we announced and launched this year is Blackhawk Tech's Makers and Scholars program. It's a pilot program, again a program to introduce students to technical education and career opportunities. And then also the State Line Community Foundation announced their early literacy program. We are big supporters and advocates of that program as well. And then for workforce development, probably the most significant new addition is the ROC internship program. This is an earn and learn program, which we worked with our partners at Rock County 5.0. Rock County 5.0 is actually funding this program. It's a paid internship, again, for seniors, high school seniors throughout Rock County. They're getting paid $10 an hour to participate in this program, and Rock County 5.0 is essentially picking up 50% of that cost, or $5 an hour. Blackhawk Tech takes care of all of the payroll issues, and the company doesn't even have to worry about the paperwork. We've tried to make this very simple. Last year was a 6-week program. There's 22 students involved. I know the fire department, we had an intern that participated, and we were so encouraged by the response that we're going to be expanding this project this coming year. Something else that we listened to when we made our presentation last year is recognition that there's a very good likelihood that there's a transportation gap out there. And we worked with the Economic Development Department, Transit, the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation, and SLATS to kind of look into this a little bit deeper. And we all are aware that we have employers that have positions that are open. They need to fill those positions. And we thought that there was a potential that existing employees lacked access to transportation in order to get to work. So what we did is we conducted a survey this past fall. We targeted the companies located in the I-90 Business Park as well as the Gateway Business Park. We sent out 33 surveys. 2 of those companies opted out, but we had 12 responses, which is about a 36% response rate. Pretty good. We were pleased anyhow. And this slide just kind of illustrates the responses that we got, at least to one question. But overall, we were able to get a little bit sense of what the demand is out there. There was general agreement that employees have an expressed interest in some sort of a transportation solution. Generally, access to transportation was not seen as a barrier, however, when it comes to recruitment and retention. But there was also a general agreement that employees would use a bus if convenient and available. And looking at it kind of from a high level, we thought there was maybe a demand for 40 to 50 employees if such a service was available. Our overall conclusion and what we think our next steps are going to be is that, in fact, there probably is a gap when it comes to transportation. However, in our internal discussions, we pretty much determined that our traditional systems that are currently established probably won't fill the gap, at least efficiently and cost effectively. It's not a matter of simply changing or adjusting routes or adding new buses or new rolling stock. We need a new kind of out-of-the-box, unconventional solution. And we need to collect more information. We need to do more data collection. So we're going to conduct some focus groups in 2019, hopefully in the first quarter. We're going to tie this into the SLAT's update of their transportation plan. And our goal is, if we can determine there's enough demand, that maybe we can do a pilot program in 2019. We don't know how this is going to look or how it will roll out, if it's going to be a van service or some sort of a public-private partnership, how it would be funded. We haven't determined that yet either. And then I'll close up here with just a few economic indicators. I'm not going to go through these in detail. This slide comes from my partner in Rock County. Quarterly, they put together some data on the economic development trends in the county, and you can see these arrows are all going up. Obviously, we have a very robust economy that transitions and translates locally as well. These indicators are all very positive. Incredible year when it came to building permit activity. Over 1,100 permits were issued this year, $42 million value of those permits, which I think is almost a 100% increase from last year, and last year was a pretty good year as well. And then I always include this slide. This kind of tells us the story of what's going on with unemployment. October, our unemployment rate was 3.3%. The lowest I've ever seen it was a year ago, December 2017, at 3.2%. Incredibly low numbers. Now, this still translates to being high compared to our peer cities. However, in the 18 years that I've been tracking this, we've always been historically number one or number two, usually number two. So now we're starting to see ourselves fall into number three or number four. So our position continues to improve, which is encouraging. And I'm not going to read through these numbers. You can see for yourself. We track our activity when we started doing this, developing these metrics back in 1999, and we also track them on an annual basis. If all this activity comes into place, we'll be tracking just under 200 jobs, 366,000 square feet, and over $842 million in investment. So that concludes my formal remarks. I'd be more than happy to take any questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you. First of all, great job. A lot of things going on in the city, and before any council have any questions, because I have a couple, so we'll go with Councilor Blakely first.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Andrew. That was really thorough. I appreciate your thoroughness very much. I wanted to especially compliment you and the other staff members on all the work you're doing on workforce development in town, and also your exploration of the transportation gap to make sure that people who do get the jobs have a way to get to work. So thank you so much. I do have one question about the Gateway Water Extension. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that, of course, that wouldn't happen until the related TIF expires. Do you know when that TIF expires?
Our best guess at this point is probably going to go out to the end of its life, which will be 2023.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Councilor Forbeck.
Yes, Andrew, in my 2 years of being on the council, I've often heard people talk in a little bit of a frustrated way over their belief that the job training that's available here for the Beloit citizens somehow is totally not aligned with the jobs that are available. And it's always shocked me, just because of the years that we spent together, and with the Job Center and Blackhawk Tech. And so I guess there's two issues. One is somebody paying attention like they used to, always, on making sure that there isn't a disparity between what is taught or can be taught and what is available. And secondly, I'm concerned about the feeling out there that already, even if I go to training, it's not going to do me any good. That's a concern I think we have to to face?
I will say that, as I mentioned, the transportation gap, traditional solutions don't cut it. And that's certainly true when it comes to workforce training as well. In working with the folks at Blackhawk, and again, this is really just happened in the last year, they've transitioned their model from, it used to be a company would approach Blackhawk and say, we need to hire sanitation workers. What can you do to help us? And they would take an existing program off the shelf and they would say, we've got this training course and it starts next semester and it will take 6 weeks, but you have to wait until next semester. So it was all kind of geared towards the convenience of the education provider. So Blackhawk has really shifted their model to be an on-demand, truly customized. It's always been customized, but it's truly customized. So if you go in and you have a specific skill set that needs to be taught to help your workforce to be more skilled, you tell them what your curriculum needs to be. They'll develop it within a matter of up as little as 2 to 3 weeks. They'll launch it within 2 to 3 weeks, and those certificates can be issued sometimes as little as 4 to 6 weeks. It's much faster. It's much more in demand. You don't have to wait for the class to start next semester. These are being packaged and made available online, so students, employees can learn at their own speed and at their own time frame, and they don't have to wait to go to class at Blackhawk Tech at Central Campus. To your second point, how do we make that connection about whether or not the skills and the opportunities that are out there are matching what's needed in the workplace? Again, we live in a very fast-paced marketplace, and I think our providers are keeping pace, but there's always room to improve.
Okay, I'm just concerned about these things being said as though it was just known fact. I'm not going to get the right training for what's available out there.
Or through their employer or through...
No, I've heard it here at least 7 times. Somebody, even, family services and community service have said something about they're trying to work on getting the training better for the people who are looking. And I'm puzzled over that belief and wanted to make sure that we were on top of that. Okay, so you make me feel good about that.
I'm glad he makes you feel, because that was kind of the question that I had. So on one hand, I see we're doing something, but my concern is still, it seems as though, especially with the casino and other businesses that we know, people, they're coming to town. I guess, what are we doing to guarantee that when they come to town, and we're saying to the citizens, we want them to hire Beloit first. But we're hearing from you each year the same, but the employers are saying the workforce is not ready. To me, there's a gap in there somewhere, and I understand we have all these trainings going on, but are they working? How can people become part of the trainings? I look at Blackhawk, and I sit on the board at Blackhawk, so I know how they used to do things, so I know they're changing. But if I can afford to go to Blackhawk, do I not get in the loop for these jobs that's coming to Beloit? Is there no other avenue that we can do to get people's skill set ready to accept these jobs that's coming, that if I can't get to Blackhawk? I mean, I'm 55. If I'm out there, I've worked at General Motors all my life. Now all of a sudden I'm out of work. New companies coming to town. I want to be part of this, but where do I get that specialized training to put me in the running for some of these new jobs that's coming to town? And I've said it before, that when we know that they're coming, I think we get excited because we hear new jobs are coming, but I don't ever hear the flip side of saying, what are we doing to make sure our workforce is ready so they don't have to go other places to get people to work? And that's, I think, the pushback that we get, that the jobs are here, but we're still not ready to fill them because we don't have the skill set. Does that make sense?
Well, if I may just jump in there. Last week at the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation, we had the chief economist from DWR present. And I'm not saying what he's saying is absolute gospel truth, but his statement was, and this is not a Beloit unique, specific issue or problem. This is not even a regional, state, or national problem. This is a global issue. And his statement was, there isn't a skills gap. There just isn't enough bodies, period. There are more positions open than there are bodies to fill them, right? That assumes, of course, you're work ready. You can pass a drug test. You are able to show up for work on time on a regular basis. You can work with your colleagues in a team environment, that you have those basic skill sets. And we have, it's not unique to Beloit, there is a segment of the population that doesn't have those work-ready skills. And I would say globally, we're not doing a good job in providing those skills.
Right,
I think there are partners that can provide those skills.
And so that's my question.
Yeah.
You hit it right on the head there, that if we have individuals that don't have that skill set, and I know there's programs that, kind of like the interviewing one that they're doing, how do we get people those skill sets? I mean, the basic skill sets, because I see it all the time when I'm hiring people. Trust me, I see it. How do we get the skill set for the people when they come here to get the jobs? Because I know people that'll work a week and then don't go back. I mean, I get that. But, so what do? We just, I think that's, if we could answer that question, we'd be great. But I mean, what do we do? Because those are the individuals maybe that we're hearing from that's saying, I don't get the job, I don't know. That's a tough one for me. It's a frustrating one for me first, because when jobs do come here and we see everybody else is getting them, but then it's also realistic, but I get frustrated because are we not doing enough?
The magic for workforce development is about the art of connecting all the dots. And it's also the most difficult part of it, because as we're all aware, those programs and resources are out there, but sometimes connecting the people to those resources is the hardest part. And to tie together what we're doing here in economic development and workforce development and the NARSA activities with their community navigator, hopefully that is going to also aid in connecting some of those resources with some of those people as well. So we continue to talk and share our resources.
And I know I talked to the chief before too, that when individuals who've been incarcerated come back to the community, well, if they can't get up enough knowledge or skills to get a job, they just start doing exactly the same thing they've done before, so it just kind of repeats themselves. So to me, it's like, I know it's a huge issue, but I just want to make sure that as a city, if we're stepping out saying we're getting people ready to work for these jobs, that we're doing it for all people. And I'm not saying that we're not, but we're doing it for all people, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge in the city, that we have to do it for everybody. And I don't know if we are. Yeah, we have agencies, but if the individuals don't know about the agencies or know how to get to the agencies or know how to talk to the agencies once they get there, it's not helping. It's not helping.
So I would mention that I wasn't. But as Andrew alluded to, in our two most challenged neighborhoods, we are doing new and creative things and partnering with other organizations that are more poised to provide the services so that we aren't reinventing the wheel and trying to learn how to provide these kinds of services. Some basic financial education and some of those basic job skills that we discussed. So we're approaching from that level in those two specific neighborhoods. We're also working in partnership with the school district and with organizations like Career Tech, Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation, and their educational initiatives and partnerships. Those are opportunities particularly to link younger people to different trades and other types of jobs. So we're trying to hit it from that angle as well. In addition, when we have large new employers that are coming, for example, the Ho-Chunk Nation, we've had extensive conversation with them about the need to expand the hospitality services training through Black Hawk Tech and through the school district to make sure that we have individuals who are prepared to enter those particular positions once they become available. Now, we can always do more. It's something we really need to continue to monitor and explore and see and measure our success in our NARSA neighborhoods is what we're doing having the outcome that we hope that it would have? And we don't have enough years of experience yet to start measuring a lot of that data, but I think we're headed in the right direction. So I think that trying to attack from multiple angles, multiple age groups, multiple demographics, we're attempting to move the needle there. But I think that it is true. We are not alone in this issue that, one, there's a lack of people to fill all of the required jobs. And there's a variety of reasons why there continues to be a gap between those seeking work and employers looking for new staff.
So can I ask that periodically, not monthly, or just periodically, that we can get an update of how this is going? How are we meeting this skill set? What have we done? I don't know how we report that out, but to show, because I think if we show the public that we're making progress, because we could say we're doing these things, and I believe we are, but to the general public, we don't see the results. So if we could just have a report out, it doesn't have to be every month, but just occasionally to say, here's what we're doing, people we partner with, here's how many people we're kind of helping or something. It seems like we should be able to do something like that. But when we talk about also the students that we're partnering with the schools, how are they selected? How are we selecting the students to be part of the intern program, to be part of all of these programs that you talked about when you partner with students? How are those students being chosen? Is there a certain GPA requirement? Is there a certain, Counselor Jacobson?
When you, President Levy, can you give specific metrics that you're looking for on the update? Because I hear counselors say, people tell me this and people tell me that, and I don't know if my phone number is not listed, but, even today, Bill Doerr's like, my phone's ringing off the hook. I'm like, not a single citizen has called me
and with
about
this,
the casino. With the same thing with
this issue here, I've said this over the last couple of years, so this is kind of me talking. Yeah, I run into a couple people who made it, but this is kind of me talking about it. We're saying we're developing, we're getting people job skill ready. How are we doing that, and where are the results? There's got to be a way for us to say, here's what we've done, and here's the results of it, or we're moving, because it's easy to say we're moving in the right direction, and we could be, but we don't know that. I don't know that.
Well, first of all,
outside of saying we're just moving in the right direction, and I'm not meaning it in a bad way, but we're doing all of these things, we're doing all these programs, so we're headed in the right direction, but are we seeing the results of our labor?
I think it's important to clarify, though, we are not directly doing these programs.
Right.
But this is important for the public to understand, because we are not in the education business. So we try to link students and potential employees or those seeking work and our residents with those programs, but we are fundamentally not responsible for those programs. That's not our area of expertise, and I don't think it should be. I think we can use resources to help support those organizations, like Community Action, like Family Services, like the Resource Navigator. I think that's an appropriate role for us, but I think we need to be cautious about assuming that we are taking a primary service delivery role in workforce development, when in fact we're more of a link between those resources. And so I think from a measurement perspective, we need to talk with our partners about how they collect data and how they can help report out on that data, because we are not likely to be the primary recipient of that information. We can certainly seek it, and it's appropriate to seek it, but I don't want to create the impression to any of the thousands who are watching right now, hi Mom, that we are directly providing those services.
But and I get that, but I think, I guess the frustration for me is we have jobs coming to the city, and we all say, and maybe it's just me saying, that we want them to go to our residents first. But then on the flip side, we're hearing, well, our residents aren't ready to take these jobs. So, well, not all of them, but no, we do have some that are, but what are we doing to make sure that, because I can't sit here and tell the public that when companies come to town, we're going to make sure that Beloit residents are first in line or have a good chance of getting these jobs if they're not skill set ready to even apply for the jobs. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm making this bigger than what it really is, but it just seems like this is, I know it's a huge problem, but on one hand, we're saying we want our residents to get the job, and on the other hand, we're saying our residents aren't equipped. Not all of them, but some of our residents aren't equipped to get the job. So what do we do to get people ready to get all these jobs that's coming to the city?
I just want to interject that our role is to bring the developers to the table and get them involved and get them going, and then we have to hand them off to somebody who's going to help them with the workforce development.
But to a certain degree, I agree with that. But when we have Andrew that's saying, when we have people saying you don't have the workforce we need, they're coming to the city saying you don't have what we need. So
I want to jump in there. They're not saying that, Kevin.
No.
Our employers do not care what zip code their employees work where they live. They just have positions to fill. They themselves would prefer if they lived in this zip code, because that means they're closer to their workplace. They're more likely to show up every day. There simply isn't enough bodies out there.
Yeah. And the disconnect here is those agencies that you want the answers from, they're not communicating as well as Andrew is. I mean, it just sounds like we're not getting that side of the equation is not being communicated to the broader public.
And I would agree.
I would agree with that. I would think that because I was at the meetings with Beloit, with Blackhawk Tech, where they explained they were doing something new. Wow, that was the first time I'd heard of it. But they had evolved into this. And by the way, in 1978, when I went to work at Beloit Corp, that's the kind of program we went through. So what's old is new again. And I just want to tell you that, because that's what we need. We need welders, and we need skilled machinists, and we need people with those kind of things, and we need them when your developer comes to town and needs to get 80 people in that shop that can do X, 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 and X. He's got to go to Blackhawk Tech or to Beloit Memorial or somebody that's got the funnel that controls the funnel.
But if I can't get into Blackhawk Tech for whatever reason, whether it be finances or whatever, I'm just SOL.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to belabor this. I could definitely talk to you guys offline, but I just we can talk. Let me move to how are the students being chosen for the various programs that we have?
It depends on the program. But for instance, the Rock County internship program, a student simply has to have an interest. I'm willing to make that commitment for those 6 weeks. It's a summer internship program. If your parents want to go on vacation during those 6 weeks, you can't. You can't take a vacation, right? It's a commitment. You have to have some sort of an interest in the particular company that has the internship available, whether it be in manufacturing, being a firefighter, being an accountant, and then there has to be a matching. It's more about a matching than it is a requirement to GPA or what your preferred coursework is. So our challenge last year is there was more students than there were workplace opportunities. So we're working this year to try to find more companies that would have positions and workplace opportunities available.
And so how do you advertise these programs through the school? I mean, I know we don't, but how do we make sure that the message...
We are hoping and we are assuming that Mitch Breemeister, who is the career tech person, is actively engaging with all of these students and with the counselors and with the educators. And again, we have our business education partnership committee. I think it's a unique model that brings together our educators in the community, our business people from GBDC and from the Chamber of Commerce, and we're constantly having this conversation every single month, Kevin. We understand there is a disconnect between the programs and the people, and we're constantly wrestling with this issue. We're meeting on a monthly basis, trying to bring the people together, trying to connect the dots. It's not easy. If it were easy, if there was a simple model or a simple program, I think we would have adopted it a long time.
Trust me, I know it's not easy. And I'm not saying it is, and I'm not trying to make it complicated, but we could just talk offline.
One other question that people have asked quite a bit now, and just recently with Shopko announcing their pharmacy closing, and the looks of things aren't looking good there. So we have a giant place out there on Prairie Avenue, lots of concrete that may not have anything in it a year from now, and we've had continuous complaints about retail development. I know that's a tough cookie, and I know it's really hard, but I mean it's one of those things that is on the conscience of everybody around here, and there wasn't much in here, and I understand retail is moribund. It's going to stay that way until somebody figures out something new, but there is a resurgence in our downtowns, and that's across the country too. If downtowns have been coming along like they should, they're seeing some of that because the internet has leveled the other playing fields. The big boys no longer have the advantage they had 20 years ago. Now the small mom and pops actually have an advantage because they don't have a problem securing goods or timely stuff. They can do things that they weren't able to do before. It's actually coming around. So I get some of that too, but we do have that hue and cry all the time. You hear it as much as I do, and so if you could just address that briefly, if you don't mind.
I just want to clarify that the pharmacy at Shopko is going to be closing Beloit,
Right,
but not the store
right.
itself. But Shopko has closed a number of stores. Announced recently they're closing a number of stores throughout the Midwest. So, retail is evolving and changing, has changed and evolved dramatically. It's going to continue to do so, and I think the pressure for bricks and mortar retailing is going to continue until the model changes again, and I suspect in my lifetime it will change again, but I think you're going to see the pressure. What I see and what I read in the industry is you're going to see more and more vacancies in bricks and mortar retailing. Maybe we were kind of lucky in Beloit that our mall was one of the first to die, because you're going to see more and more of these malls across the country dying, and we've very effectively transitioned our mall to a new life. So at least we don't have a big vacant mall.
I think I just saw that where they bulldozed an old mall in Manitowoc, between Manitowoc and Two Rivers, that had sat there moribund for quite a long time. I think they're working on. I thought there was some kind of development going in there for apartments or something. But anyway, it was one of those things you don't expect to see driving down the road in Manitowoc, and boom, there it was.
And I'll confess, the telephone this last year has been ringing off the hook for industrial opportunities, but not really for commercial, quite frankly. Yeah.
Also, Forbank.
One question remaining concerning this issue. Where is the Rock County Job Center? I mean...
Its location?
No. I mean, are they still as deeply involved with training as they used to be 10 years ago? Or not?
The crisis has shifted, obviously, so they're trying to adjust and shift as well, but they're very busy. If you drive past the job center on any given day, the parking lot is pretty full, so they're out still providing...
So they're still really
absolutely
a player
yes.
in the job training?
Not training per se, but providing services, and again, making that linkage and that connection between job searchers and companies that have open positions.
Because I was going to say, when the gentleman from our new nice making the front doors was here last time, he was saying, you need to help me get workers. And I remember when Kettle came in here, and they were so complimentary of our job center because they handled every bit of their search for their employees. So I just didn't know if they're still that active of a player.
They are. And, just to kind of put it in perspective, we announced the Seal Right project last week, right?
Yep.
2 weeks ago. We had made those connections, we, the economic development people. Seal Right was connected with the Job Center and Blackhawk and the other providers last year, quite frankly.
Okay.
We make those connections early on in the process.
Okay, thank you.
Vice President Duncan and then Councilor Anderson. Go ahead, turn your light.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I did attend the Greater Beloit Economic Development Committee, and I was quite surprised when I saw the hands of how many people said they had, how many businesses and companies said they had jobs available. So I go back to President Levy's question, how do we connect people to be job ready, and we can't hold their hand, and, you know, that doesn't work. But I'm just wondering, I think there has to be some kind of connect with where people know, get the information, the advertisements out there. I know we certainly can't handle what a company does or what they put out, but I don't know if there's something we can even do from our standpoint, from a city, to put the word out on our, and perhaps we're doing that, on our website where people can get the skills that they need, and perhaps even working, I heard Julie mentioned about the NARSA plan and the different demographics, the areas, and having that worker at the community action at the Merrill Center. So I think those are certainly ways to reach all people, but I'm just wondering, are we, you know, where can we help with that connection, I guess? Is that a...
Open to ideas.
So, that's all I'm saying. I just think we need to be cognizant of that. So, but I think too, it's a, because we do get that as counselors. When the new companies are coming into town, people say that, you know, they come in here and they bring people in from Illinois and all these other places. But what about the people who live in Beloit? They have to drive to Janesville to go, and this is certainly not your fault, Andrew, but I'm just saying, they say, you know, they have to drive to Janesville to go to work or other places, and they live right here in Beloit. So I think there is a disconnect somehow. Now, what our job is in that, you know, we have to make sure that, I think that we want to make sure that our residents come first. But I think, yeah, we just got to figure out how to make that work better. And maybe if we could get a periodic report just to see how it's going amongst the new businesses that's coming in town, that would be good information to have. So that's all I have.
Anderson.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to Nancy's question about the job center. At the YWCA with our shelter, we work with them real well. They provide basic training and job skills that would be very bare bones, starting to get a job.
Those soft skills.
Yes, in fact, we even use them for some volunteer hours too. So they do the W-2 program, so they do basic stuff like, do they show up on time, are they professional, are they dressed appropriately? So yeah, they do a lot of that, the bare bones, starting to soft skill jobs. So that's what they've been doing, and that's the experience we've had with them. So just wanted to share that with you.
Hey, Manager Luther.
Just a closing thought, I wanted to take the opportunity to make sure the public was aware that some workforce development staff members and Black Hawk Tech are officing out of the public library here in Beloit. So we have a direct linkage to both of those organizations, and I think that's a really nice fit. So wanted to make that announcement.
Anything else? Counselor Jacobson.
I would ask that if we're asking for updates, that maybe not have it from Andrew, but maybe get it specifically from those resources directly to hear what they're doing, not, you know, a pass-through.
Right, and I think when I'm looking for just periodic updates, if you, I mean, the two of you, I mean, you know who we partner with. I mean, just simply, I don't know. I guess I just want to hear that what we're doing is working, because I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I hear that have these programs in place, but we don't know. We don't know how many people these agencies are serving, and if we're having any success with them. I mean, I don't know, and I guess I just want to know.
So we'll have maybe the job center and maybe somebody from Black Hawk Tech.
I think having a conversation with the Job Center, Black Hawk Tech, the Career Tech, and Beloit High School and some of their programs that they're working on as well. I mean, there's a lot of players out there doing a lot of work. I don't know if any of them can tell you what they're doing is actually working, because the metrics out there, they are what they are. Right?
But I think even if, to Counselor Jacobson's point, even if we hear from them, this is usually televised and the media is usually here, it'll get out for individuals who may say, I didn't know where to go, that we're giving them that avenue, you know, to go. And maybe, as Vice President Duncan said, maybe put something on the city's website or an article on the city's website or something saying, here's where you can go to get skills. I don't know, but I just... Okay, anything else?
Andrew, this is great.
So thank you for your report. I mean, I hope you didn't feel we're ganging up on you, but you're doing a great job. You're getting businesses here. So we don't want to overshadow the great things that you're doing by the questions that we just ended it with. So kudos to you and staff and everyone who's doing a great job in bringing businesses here. So, anything else? We're not there yet. So thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
I have extra copies of the report presentation and annual report, if anybody would like a copy of that.
Item 12, reports from boards and city officers. We have none. Item 13, is there a motion to adjourn? Jacobson, is there a second? Pressure, all in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.